We're back. The time is now.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
That was
everyone.
a bit of a delay there on that transition, wasn't it? It was just like everybody was waiting. The world stood still for a little while.
The world stood still.
Welcome, good afternoon, one and all, to NUFC Talk TV with myself, the Geordie Yam Yam, and the Mighty Win here as my right-hand man, as always, on a Tuesday, Thursday lunchtime. We're going to have a look at the weekend's game. It's the Sunday kickoff, 4:30. At St James's Park between Newcastle and Arsenal. Bit of a toughie this weekend. We're going to have a look at potential lineups, people that are unavailable for both sides, and what we think is going to be the outcome. Bit of a different setup, I think, to the Bradford game. But like I say, it's going to be interesting between the two. One's got a decent scoring record. The other one's got a decent defensive record. So I suppose there's got to be some give between the two. So let's crack on with the housework, and then we'll crack on with the show. Welcome to everybody watching across all of the platforms. Thanks to everybody that works in the background. They do an amazing job. Don't forget, smash that like button if you enjoy the show. It just helps us get further. You've been amazing so far. Keep it going. Subscribe, totally free. Let's see if we can get to that 8,000 mark. We are literally, I think it's 101 or something like that behind.
No, I think we're less now. We're under 100
Are we less
now.
Under 100. Keep on going, guys, because like I say, you're doing absolutely amazing. Subscribe for us. And don't forget to smash that bell as well, because obviously we do loads of content. We've got another show coming at 9 o'clock tonight with me and a panel. So again, jump on board with the bell and you'll get notification. There's half an hour to go before we're live on air. And we're always live. It's never edited. What you hear is what you get type of thing. If you want to support us, you can become a member, monthly fee. It's the two different levels to choose from. Choose your, whichever one suits your pocket. But that'll be great if you can support us. If you've got a question for me or Win during the show, then put a Q in front of it. Like I say, it's not guaranteed, but if it's relevant, we'll do our best to highlight it. But we do have quite a few in the chat. So if you want to guarantee it, use the $. Throw us a Talk TV super chat. And that will guarantee that message read out. Anybody that becomes a member during the show, or anybody that gives memberships out there, will be highlighted and thanked. And like I say, if you still want to, you've got an opportunity to come on board with a £5 entry fee to be a participant within our prediction league. Very difficult to get the predictions right. Win was close yesterday. He predicted 4-0. It ended up 4-1. I predicted 3-0.
5-0 I went for. I went
you went 5?
3-0 originally, and then when I saw the lineup, I was quite pleased with the lineup, so I changed that to 5-0.
Yeah.
And it should have been that easy.
Oh, it should. Yeah, absolutely. It should have been a lot more, to be fair. I think people that had got 6, 7s and 8s, I'm sure they were crossing the fingers, because like I say, it looked like, if on another day, Bruno could have had a hat-trick quite easily. Ilanga could have had a hat-trick. I say could have had a hat-trick. Asula,
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah, Asula should have had a hat-trick. Ilanga should have had at least one. I mean, like I say, 4-1, I think flattered Bradford, because it was quite a dominating game. But like I said, he's going to be slightly different on Sunday. Against a very informed side, currently second in the table. Shall we have a quick look at the table to see where we are? Like I say, they are on fire at the minute. Let's see if I can just put it on the screen for you guys, and then we can all see it together. So I'll try and bring it down so it makes it a little bit less. Trouble is, there you go. So in the table, we've got Liverpool at the top, but like I say, clean sweep on 15 points after 5 games. It's what I expected, to be fair. Then Arsenal, our opponents on Sunday, with 3 wins, a draw and a loss on 10 points. Then Spuds, who we've got in our next Carabao Cup. So again, Thomas Frank has gone in there and done a job with them. And then Bournemouth, like I say, flying high in fourth. Palace again, another dark horse, continuing their end of season last year, and obviously cup and competitions, still flying high in the Premier League. And obviously Chelsea, then the Mackhams, Fulham, Man City, currently in 9th, and Newcastle now down in 13th, with a bit of a strange start to the season. Are you concerned with where we are at the minute in the Premier League?
No, not at all.
You're just happy that the fact that we are on 6 points, sitting in that 13th spot.
I mean, it's worrying that we're already 9 points behind the leaders. Again, that we could have, would have, should have. The Liverpool game, the last second gutting, whatever, but that was against 10 men. And the only teams that have managed to score against us so far are Liverpool and Barcelona. So defensively, I think we're sound.
I'm Bradford.
Oh, and Bradford, yeah. But that, the game was done and dusted then anyway. They got a consolation, which I was very happy for their supporters. Their supporters were absolutely amazing last night. Completely outsung St. James's Park. Congratulations to them if there's any Bradford City fans listening.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
I don't suppose there will be. They'll still be either licking their wounds or even celebrating what was, a good day out for them, if nothing else. It's the sort of away days that we used to have.
Absolutely.
Used to get twatted, but really enjoy the occasion.
Yeah.
You went there. You didn't even go with hope a lot of the times. You just went for to have a good time, kind of thing.
So let's have a look at the home form, see where we are in the home table. And as you can see, we're down in 15 spots at home. Again, not played too many games, if I'm honest with you, at home. So we can't always go on that at this early stage. But away form, let's have a look at where Arsenal are. They linger in 7th position. Again, nothing really to shout home about. Played 2 away from home. They've won 1 and they've lost 1.
Again, to be fair, the one they lost was at Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah, exactly. So Premier League at the point, if you like, for me, the runaway leaders again. So let's have a look at the expected. This is what they expect at this early stage. So Liverpool to remain at the top, then Arsenal, then Spurs, then Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. This is what they were expecting after so many games. So not much difference there.
Who's expecting what? How's this been arrived at?
This is Opta. This is Opta. This is the supercomputer. When they put in that last updated 7 hours ago, and this is the predicted at the end of the season with Liverpool on 81 points, Arsenal on 74 points, and Newcastle they've predicted to be in 6th position. On 67 points, or just above the 67 points. So that's where they have predicted us to finish, with Crystal Palace to finish in 5th spot. So again, Opta at the minute seem to be expecting Crystal Palace to still remain the dark horses, if you like.
I tell you what, if they do, that's an incredible achievement.
Oh, it's a phenomenal achievement. Absolutely.
When you think of the players they've sold, Elise, Eze, who else did they sell? They sold somebody else, big name.
Well, I mean, there's been,
and they've got Geese still playing for them.
Yeah, I mean their defence. I mean they'd lost Anderson, hadn't they, last season? There's been a lot of movement regarding Gay, but again, you've got to give you've got to bib your hat for the likes of Gay, because to a lot of players that could have disrupted mentally your game. But he seems to have continued. to be, as professional as he possibly can. And it's showing just rewards because, like I say, Crystal Palace at the minute are doing really well, flying at 5th on 9 points. So, well done to them. Right then, back to Arsenal. Like I say, if you look at previous results, if you like, yes, they got the 2-0 result against Port Vale, rested a lot of their star players. They did well to come back against Man City. I mean, it's very rare you see Pep play a defensive role against an opponent. It's usually the other way around. But Man City got the breakaway goal, if you like. Really quick, well done to Foden. 3-on-2, slipped in Haaland, who does what he does best in front of goal. Very composed finish. Then they got the win against Athletic Club in the Champions League, the win against Nottingham Forest. And like I say, their only loss up to yet is against Liverpool in the Premier League.
Can I just address a couple of the things in the chat here?
Yeah.
Hells, you're right. I've just checked the because there were the predictions before I went to the match yesterday. So anything that was changed, and I'm looking after. These are after 2:00 yesterday afternoon. We got Ronnie Turnbull's in from there, and we got Betsy's I put in, Jonathan Shaw's I put in. So we're talking after 5:30. I haven't made any changes, and I can see there that PDK or Gary Hugh changed to 3-0 from 2-0, right? So PDK 4-0, Gary 3-0, Hells 4-1.
Oh,
that's why you wanted it. Yeah, good
well
man.
Done, Sean.
Good man. So you're actually the only 4-1 that's there.
I'm gonna say, I'm sure, I didn't think there was many.
Yeah, and just in case there's any queries about it, that came in yesterday at 19:12. So well before kickoff, not a problem.
Yeah. Well done, Sean.
So Sean, I'll be updating that. I'll be PDK. You got an extra point for getting the 4.
Yeah.
So I'll be.
We'll be
updating them after the show. What too busy to be doing it now.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that as we go on.
I'll put a revised thing in the prediction chat.
Yeah, well, like I say, these are things that we will constantly keep checking and making sure that we get all the bits and pieces sorted anyway. So league position second, 10 points from 5 games, Arsenal. Goals scored 10, 2 conceded. So again, quite solid at the defence and quite good going forward. So again, they seem that if you look at Arsenal's strength this season, and like I say, with the inclusions of a couple of their signings, which, as you've quite rightly said, when we were in the green room, they're in a similar position to us with some of their new players coming in. Some of them have got, injuries straight away, Madueke to being one. But when you look at the strengths that Arteta seems to have brought into Arsenal at the minute, is a good balance between attack and defence. So for me, when you get that right through the spine of the team, and there's still a couple of players in there that potentially could do better. Let's put it that way. They are on title contending form at this present moment in time. Obviously, the only concerns, minor injury disruptions, cautious approach in big games. So would they class Newcastle at St James's Park as a big game?
Well, Arsenal class it as a big game. You bet your life they will.
Yeah.
Because the Arsenal fans are still licking their wounds from last season. And arguing like Billy-O amongst themselves about how Arteta allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, they can't score here.
No, it's weird, isn't it?
I think the stat that this is the Arsenal fans were all bringing forward was in up to and including the last time we played them at home, which was in the league by then, I think. Was it? I can't remember. Anyway, they only had 1 shot on target in 3 games. And,
Wow.
they were really up in arms about that. So a couple of stats there. Newcastle, where is it? I've got it somewhere. There's only, out of all of their away games, Arsenal have the worst record. They've won less games at Newcastle in the Premier League than any other team that they've faced a similar amount of times, with the exception of Liverpool. Liverpool, where is it? Sorry, Man City. Arsenal have only lost more away games at Man City in all competitions, they've lost 5 times to Man City, than they have away to Newcastle, where they've lost 4 times.
Wow. So they don't come to Newcastle with a great record, do they?
No,
like I said, last season, out of 4 times we played them, they only won 1.
Newcastle have won each of the last 3 home games against Arsenal in all competitions without conceding a single goal, while their last, it's not since 1969, good year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have we won 4 in a row against them. So history's against us in that respect, going 4 in a row. But records, are they to be broken, are they not?
They are indeed.
Well,
exactly. But going on to Newcastle then, this is our where we are at the minute. Obviously, the 4-1 win over Bradford last night, which again, confidence-wise, was a massive need when we see goals scored. It's a shame we conceded, to be fair. But it was a great goal from Cook. And like I say, I can't see a keeper getting anywhere near that. Very instinctive type of shot when he had the opportunity to. And he, in off the bar, very good. Drew 0-0 against Bournemouth, which was the bore. The very close loss against Barcelona, I thought we played well against Barcelona at home. The win against Wolves, 1-0 win. And again, it looks a struggle at times. And Wolves, in the first few minutes, seemed to really be testing us, but we kept it together, scraping the 1-0 win, and then obviously we got the draw at Leeds at Ellen Road. So it's been a bit of an indifferent start for Newcastle. Currently,
listen, you've got to take into consideration that until the Liverpool game, we didn't have a striker.
No, and we outplayed them. You've got to say we outplayed them. They went down to 10 men.
That's why the transfer window all of a sudden became a bad window, simply because of the timing, how long it took to get the players in, because by the time we actually had or would have had them both available, had Wizard not got injured, we'd already effectively lost 7 points. Because we should have beaten Villa. If we'd had a striker on the park against Villa, we would have won that game. I've argued the point with Chris about the Leeds game, but I still think if we'd had a striker up front against Leeds, they were never going to score, and we would have had a lot more chance of scoring. So that was another 3 points potentially. And then, like I say, against Liverpool, same again. That could easily have been 3 points. So we could have been sitting on 9 points instead of sitting on 2.
Yeah, I mean, you like I say, 13th, 6 points from 5 games. It doesn't look great. When you look at the goals scored, 3, goals conceded, 3. Taken away the obviously the cup games. This is just Premier League. It doesn't give great reading, but the strengths, what we've seen so far, defensive solidity, 3 clean sheets, home form is improving, even though, like I say, we need it back to where it used to be, the fortress at James's Park. And the only concern, if I'm honest with you, is the lack of attacking fluency. just 3 goals in 5 matches. So, when you look at it, we've got to see the XG increase, and we've got to start seeing, now, as we saw against Bradford, the midfield are starting to compete in the higher end of the park, but we need to see a little bit more from our wingers.
And what I would also say is, did you notice when Voltemada came on and the pitch yesterday? Again, you've got to qualify it with the fact that it was Bradford.
Yeah.
But there was some excellent interplay involving Voltemada.
It was superb. It was lovely to watch. The
it
intricacy.
was.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. For me, he reminds me of the perfect 10. If I'm honest with you, because he hasn't got the pace to get in and beyond. He's always going to find it difficult to beat the defender, if you like. But what I love is the fact that he's got that strength and that understanding of the game. I mean, that turn that he did yesterday to give himself 5 yards. It's a shame he just didn't try and shoot, to be fair. But
you say again, that was yesterday. The number of times I'm saying, pull left and trigger, man. This is something that's got to be put right. We are creating shooting opportunities, but choosing not to shoot. To me, if you shoot, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, unless you pull the trigger, you're never really gonna get the opportunity. It was nice to see a couple of shots from in and around the 20-yard mark, but it wasn't. Like I say, there was opportunities where I think it's all about confidence for me. The more you get your shot on target, even if you work the keeper, it means that you've got your head in the right space, and the chances will come and start flowing for you. But disappointed again for me from the wing play. You look at the XG yesterday against Bradford City, both of them didn't fill me with joy, if I'm honest with you. And it's something that's got to improve. Now, again, will we see a change in the system against Arsenal? Potentially. And I've put a team out there, and this is only my team, and we'll get to in a second. But I just want to go on to have a look at, this is Arsenal against Man City. This is the way they played and how they really tested and stretched. And as you can see, you got Madueke, the highest point down that right-hand side. So whoever plays left back for Newcastle, I find it's going to be the same. I mean, we know Madueke is now out injured, and he'll probably be replaced by Saka. There's going to be, I would imagine, a change in midfield because Odegaard seems to be back training after his shoulder injury. But we're going to go through all that in a minute. So this is their setup against Man City. And as you can see, played a very high line at Ellen Road. Sorry, not Ellen Road. At I was going to say Main Road then, but it's not. The Etihad. Oh God, it bloody went out of my head.
Got there
got there in the end. Yeah, exactly. So again, you can see they try and dominate in parks with these little box work down that right hand side, and again you can see we know Royce likes to play in that inverted left side. Again, supporting that left side with Trossard out there. And again, Trossard isn't the one that's expected to go up and down. He's the one that sits and allows the midfield to push on and create that space up top. And again, you look at Gyökeres, who again was rested against Port Vale. Again, the lone pinnacle up front. Seems to be finding his feet a little bit more at Arsenal. The opportunities are coming thick and fast. And like I say, the one thing that I noticed against Man City, they got the equalising goal in the 93rd minute. They are becoming the new Liverpool in my eyes when it comes to, they never stop. They don't stop trying until the referee blows that whistle. So, for me, this is where Newcastle, even if we go in the lead, if Newcastle decide to sit back, for a fact that Arteta has got these boys pushing right till the end. 95th, 96th minute, they're still going to be throwing balls in and around the box. So we've got to be on our best, our sharpest for the entire game.
But you see what that graphic shows perfectly. How much they rely on Rice.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, everything everything is
Look at that.
going through Rice.
Yeah.
And
He
if
is
you
the main man.
remember what we've done certainly when we played them in the Cup, we had Shea almost doing a man marking job on Rice. It was taking him out the back three, as it were, but he was shadowing Rice, and Dan Byrne was on Odegaard,
All right.
who, when Odegaard plays, which he's not in that team, of course, because he was injured,
Yeah.
but there's a potential that Odegaard could be back. But I think, having worked it so successfully, I don't know, will Eddie do that again? Or will he think, Arteta might suss that? It's kind of a game of chess.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because if Arteta has sussed that, then he might try and, come up with another system. And this, again, is all about watching the game as it goes, as it progresses, and reacting to that.
Yeah. I've just been corrected by David, by the way. Thank you, David. He was at the Emirates, not at the Etihad. The Arsenal were at home. I've just had a quick glance. So thanks, matey, for correcting me on that one. You're very, very kind. That's what I said. We are live, unedited. We don't get the chance to put it right. We expect, and you guys out there in Viewerland are doing it for us. So that's what we want. Brilliant part of that. Thanks, Dave. You're right, though, mate. I think, as we can see through that graph, you stop one player, and it does seem to change the mentality of the way the team clicks. Now, obviously, I have a feeling Odegaard's going to be involved at some point, whether he starts or not, in place of Marino. It'll be interesting to see whether they change shape a little bit. And we know, like I say, Madueke is out. So before we go any further, you've got the injury list you've put up.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick run through the injuries then, mate.
So Jesus is out until January. He'll not be there. Havertz is out till November, according to the information. Madueke's out till November. Reina, no return date. So, no idea what's going on with him. But, certainly not in time for Sunday. And then Martin Odegaard with his shoulder injury, no surgery. He's totally fine. He's already been in training. And it will be a matter of days, I think. And that was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So you can assume he will be available if called upon.
Absolutely.
That's for a shoulder injury.
That's for that shoulder injury, isn't it? So, like I say, he's back in training, so it's going to be an interesting one when it comes to that. So,
although they're saying just 50% chance of.
Yeah, well, like I say, he'll probably be on the bench. If I'm honest with you, I don't think he'll start, but you never know.
In which case, you would think that the only time we'll see him is if we've gone ahead.
Yeah, and obviously for Newcastle, we know Fabian Schär is still probably recovering from his concussion protocol, so he won't be available for this one. Jacob Ramsey, we know, with the ankle injury, and Johan Wissa, and obviously Anthony Gordon now suspension is complete, so there won't be any potential issues there, and there's no suspensions for Arsenal. So this is my tactical notes, right? And again, I go with what I feel sometimes on my gut. And I think it's going to be a likely lineup of a 3-5-2. And David, again, I think has matched my predictions in the league there in the chat, with Pope in goal, Botman, Byrne anchoring the back line, and Tonali orchestrating midfield. Expect Murphy and Willock to provide width and energy. The reasons why I said that is because both Murphy and Willock wasn't involved the weekend. But I wrote this yesterday after we watched the match, and I've come to put it down on my tactical board, if you like, and I've changed that. I've gone with a little bit of a different formation. I've gone to a 5 or a 3-5-2. If you like, you class it as a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, or you can class it as a 3-2-3-2 if you want to be really technical. Arsenal and Arteta's, I think it'll be a 4-3-3. We'll feature Rice and Zubimendi in midfield with Gyökeres and Trossard leading the line. Odegaard available and could be a pivotal for creativity later on in the game. So again, you've got to ask yourself. Does the psychological edge of Arsenal's previous games at St James's Park make a dramatic change to the way they play? I'm not too sure that it will. But what you've said before, when you look at it, it has a potential of being a little bit of a banana skin for Arsenal again. So I'm going to put on my team. What I'm going to do first of all is obviously we need to move some players out. Now we know, like I say, this is the team that started against Man City at the Emirates. So Madueke, we know he's out. But luckily for them, they have a great replacement in Saka. So I think it'll be a like for like with Saka coming back in. And obviously we've been talking about, Zubimendi and Trossard. Like I say, Zubimendi likes to play in this area. Obviously Trossard sits in a little bit and he'll play in the zones between the two. And like I said, Calafiore seems to be a bit part at the moment, but it looks like he's got his place back at left back with Gabriel and Saliba, the back line, and Julian Timber again likes to really bomb down that right hand side, supporting the right winger. So again, we're going to have our work cut out either side. So what I've gone with for Newcastle is this 3 at the back with Chow Botman and Dan Burn. I've got Livramento at left back with Trippier at right back, and again, it's more having the players with the mindset rather than just throwing the young guns in. I know Luis Hall is back and gathering fitness. Because he played a decent amount of time against Bradford yesterday, I don't think he'll start. He'll be on the bench, but I don't think he'll start against Arsenal. But what this gives you is a shape where you can get Tino, as we know he does, supporting down the line. You've got obviously Anthony Gordon playing these little triangles with J7 bombing in and supporting. And what you get then is these little diagonal runs inside to out or outside to in, whichever way you want to work it. And it'll play with these triangles. And it'll be a way of trying to draw Saka back. And what you get then is Dan Burn will go out to look after the left back position, left centre back, right centre back, and right back. And then what you get is the pivot of these two playing on this right hand side. So what you'll get is these type of movements.
By the way, you haven't got the board on screen, Gary.
Oh crikey, you're absolutely right. I'm watching my screen here, and I haven't transitioned it. So I'll put this back and I'll start again, shall I? Thank you for that. A bit delayed though, Win. But thanks for telling me about that. I do apologise, everybody out there. I was doing my best to be very clever, and I wasn't showing you guys anything. All right, let's put this back, and I can transfer it across. There you go. You're all with me now.
No, well,
now we're there. Apologies for that one. Like I say, I think this is how Newcastle will potentially set up. Well, obviously you've got Tonali just sitting in the deeper role. And like I say, what this does give you, and like I say, you can see it for all it's worth. People will say, well, you've gone negative. I don't think it ever goes negative. I think the biggest problem for us is we've become a negative team because of the output on the other end. When we are not creating, because of majority of the time it's the wing play, if you like. We just don't seem to be creating enough in this end of the. But it's not the formation. The formation doesn't stop you from producing, because 3 boys at the back should give you extra bodies in midfield and extra bodies up front if everybody's moving. I think we've been a little bit reluctant to lose games rather than go out there and win games. Hence, when we were talking in the review of matches previously, and we've said, like, against Bournemouth and Leeds, it became a bit of a bored draw because there just wasn't enough productivity. There was too much space between the mid 3 and the front 1 or the front 3, depending on which formation they played, and that can't happen. And we need to get players up and around, and that's why I think having Tonali in there in this deep role, what you get then is the double pivot from both J7 and Bruno, who can go in and support into these channels here. But again, with this mock-up, I think we're going to be more heavily dominant down that left-hand side. So you get Tino doing these runs.
Well, hang on.
Go on.
Is it going to be Trips and Tino?
That's what I said. I don't know. I've just said, for me, because Lewis Hall played against Bradford, I don't think he'll be risked against Arsenal.
You think not?
No, I think.
I hope he is.
Well,
even though I think Tino has been playing better on the left than he does on the right, and wait for it, I think he's been playing better on the left than Hall on the left. Hall post injury, Hall before he was injured last season was superb. But I still think he showed me again. You've got to qualify. It was Bradford, but he looked to me to be back to his best yesterday. Lewis Hall, he was winning stuff in the air. He was some lovely turns to pull away, from a defensive position to pull the ball out. I thought he had a really good game. So I think maybe he's done it, and he, there's nothing to stop him playing 2 games in 4 days. Bloody hell!
Yeah. I know, but like I said, for me, I think with coming off his injury and things like that, I think that was the perfect time to bring him in and to get minutes under his belt. But I think you're probably going to be asking quite a lot, even though he's young, to play on Sunday as well, especially what you're expecting. And half volleys there saying the Arsenal lineup hard to predict because we have options. Eze or Odegaard might come in for Marino and Martinelli, or Trossard might start. And exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm only going on literally what you had against Man City, but you have options. Like I say, the only thing for me is Eze, plays in that 10. Is he going to be enough to work at St James's Park? I think the problem is with Eze, he's a bit of a luxury player. That's why I've never really rated him, because he's not the player that is not the style of player that I like. I like players that want to work for you, that graft. Still got the quality. I think Eze is a bit of a luxury at times, and he expects the players around him to work for him. He was the same at Palace, and I have yet to see him work hard for Arsenal. Yeah, like I said, when you've got the likes of Royce playing well in that deeper role and supporting the luxury of Eze, the reasons why I've stuck with this one, the same as against Man City, is because there's a lot more workers within this side. And again, this is only in my opinion. I don't really know what Arteta's going to do, and I certainly haven't got a clue what Howe's going to do. But this is the reasons why I've set it up like this is because this quite easily becomes 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 4-2-4, whichever way you want to work it. And the reasons why I look at Newcastle playing this system, you've made a valid point. I have no issues whether it's Hall that starts or whether it's Tino that starts. But I don't think Tino's had a bad game at left back. To the point where he deserves to be dropped yet. Trippier, we know.
No, well, I'm not saying drop him. I'm saying play him right back.
Yeah, but this is where I said to you, would you risk playing all the young uns against Arsenal?
Well, yeah.
Well, I know you say why you know what I mean? But we've actually seen Tino lose his composure at times, lose his concentration, and he's allowed players to run in behind him. We nearly conceded against Bournemouth, doing exactly that, starting that lineup. So, for me, I think you'll go with the older heads, if you like, a little bit more composure, a little bit more switched on. Even though I don't think Trippier has been playing outstanding, we do know he's a big team player. And he gives you that little bit more experience when it comes to it. So the reasons why I've gone with this setup is, like I said before, when I stopped and started again, was the fact that you'll have Tino bombing down that left-hand side. Byrne will drop out to left back, Botman left centre back, and it creates this four. And what you'll get then is a double pivot. So you'll get Bruno dropping into the right-hand side. It'll be Voltemada staying central, and it'll either be Gordon dropping out on the diagonal, allowing Tino Livramento to come and run outside to in, or inside to out, whichever way he runs. And then if he stays on the outside with Gordon on the outside, this will allow J7 to come and play in these half spaces. This is where Newcastle need to be more dominant. It's in this third between the halfway line and the 18-yard box, because in the past we've been too relaxed, if you like, to get up close to whoever's playing centrally. Even when Anthony Gordon was there, before we had Voltemada in, we was played through the middle. It just, there was just far too much space. There's not enough players running in behind to allow the likes of Voltemada to drop into that 10 and play the balls that we saw against Bradford. When he's got his back to a defender, if there's players running in on the diagonal, you've got an opportunity. The biggest thing for me, though, is how does Trippier take Trossard out of the game? Trossard, we know he'll be the one that wants to play like of Saka. He'll want the space. He'll want players to get behind him, so he's got space to run into. Trossard will be doing the same. So again, it's having the balls, if you like, to push Trippier on a little bit, and allowing, you've still got the three at the back with probably Tonali dropping in there as that fourth anchor man, playing the diamond, so there's always an outlet. And that should bring Trossard and Saka into their own half. What Newcastle have to be is positive and not give the respect that we've given to the likes of Leeds, to the likes of Bournemouth in previous matches. If we can start as we started against Aston Villa, as we started against Liverpool, unfortunately didn't get the result that the team effort put in, I think there's every chance we can get a result against Arsenal, but it ain't going to be easy.
We've got Chris on there saying, but they're not young and inexperienced. They're good players that just happen to be young.
Yeah.
You can't count on luck, but luck counts.
Luck counts, absolutely.
They're not
and yet,
not young,
that's the same. Yeah, and that's the same lad, though, that was giving Tino a massive rollicking for nearly allowing Bournemouth to score.
There you go.
And that's what I'm saying.
Take that, American Mark.
That's what I'm saying. It's not about saying they're young players. It's just about having that mentality to continue to be switched on. It's not about them being poor players. It's about literally the experience to remain switched on and allowing. And listen, I'm not being funny. We've seen enough of that from Trippier in the past. That doesn't.
Well, there's a lot of the chat, Gary, saying that Trippier hasn't done it in the Prem this season.
No.
And needs improving upon.
Well, I'll let you do the chat, matey.
I'll never have a bad word said against Trips, as you know, but he's not the player he was. Neither would you expect him to be. He's getting on in years. All that bumming up and down is going to take its toll. It's going to be curtailed somewhat now. But he's still, technically, he's quality still. And experience-wise, none better. So it's a question of weighing up the two. in the chat. What we got? Let's have a look here. I mean, I haven't put any of the chats up regarding the rat because we're done with that. We've got 5-3-2 for me, says David Cook.
Yeah.
With Gordon and Big Nick up front. Well, that's what we were discussing before the show, weren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you're playing 5 at the back, someone's got to go. And we both agreed that there's something that has to go is one of the wingers. So then it's the debate, is it Gordon, Murphy, or Elanga? You know, they are the three. Barnes, I think, especially after last night's performance, has written himself out. You know, he's now had ample opportunity this season to stake a proper claim for me. And he's just singularly failed to do it. So the three wingers in contention are Elanga, Murphy, who's got his assist, had a couple of shots on target, which Elanga hasn't. Elanga had the glaring miss in the first couple of minutes against Villa. And, you know, I kind of agree with Chris in terms of he should have had assists. If the guy in the middle had been up to the task, he would have had a couple of assists at least. And that's not his fault that the striker's a wanger. So, you know, arguable. And Gordon, of course, has spent more time off the field than he spent on it because of his disciplinary record. However, out of the three, and I know that's the tide is turning in terms of public opinion regarding Anthony Gordon, but I still think there's a hell of a player there and plenty to come. So I would go with Gordon and Baltimore, but I wouldn't be totally miffed, shall we say, if it was to be Murphy Baltimore or if it was to be Elanga Baltimore. So we'll wait and see. Watch this space for what happens there. And this is always assuming, of course, that he does go 5 at the back.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I'm just going on what Iniesta has put down before. So I'll put this on the screen now. I've just switched it up a little bit just so you guys can see what I've done. And this is exactly what Iniesta said. He was gonna drop Botman, throw Burn at the back with Chow, Tino, Trippier, and Murphy and Gordon as your 3 up front. Which again, there's every potential that could happen.
That's a bog standard 4-3-3.
That's your bog standard 4-3-3. Yeah.
With Botman and Burn as opposed, and so no Chow, no 5 at the back.
No, and obviously if Eze plays, obviously I think it'll be in place of potentially Zubamendi, who I thought played really well against Man City. And if Eze plays, he'll play in the hole, if you like. And again, you know, he's absolutely right. He isn't a workhorse, but what he can give Arsenal is the out.
He's got that bit of magic.
He's got that bit of magic. Yeah, he can create. But for me, not the type of player that I enjoy watching. He must be a great player to have around you, that you've always got a ball, an out ball. But to me, I think, you know, like I say, time will tell. I'm hoping, you know, we keep him quiet if he does start. I'm hoping we can nullify anything that he can give. But I mean, potentially, if you look at their attack now with these two in, like I say, Trossard can get in these half spaces. As again the lads have said, the Arsenal fans, you know, he's always dangerous, Trossard, especially in these backstick areas where he likes to ghost in on the back post. And they have got a different animal with Gyökeres up top. He's strong. We know he's going to be up for it. So it's going to be an interesting one, mate. It really is.
Just quickly go through these chats. Dave, 5-3-2 for me with Gordon and Big Nick up front. The Gunner Lowdown. Hey guys, love the channel, as you can see by the name, Arsenal, but live here in Newcastle. Can't wait for the game. Going to be a good match, says the Gunner Lowdown. Paul Momo, our ball to feet quick passing was decent last night. Hope we can play like that on Sunday. Indeed it was.
I agree. Yeah.
We all hope we can. Janesta saying Botman out, Murphy in. And I think that will be the 11, which is what you just showed there. Michael Smithers, Trippier, too slow to play wing back. Well, Trips has been awful in the Prem so far, so we hope we start all, says Trolls. And finally, Tom Spencer, regarding Tino, he's been miles better than Hall. He needs time to who needs time to come back to be where he was at. So that's all the chats up to now. When was that? 14 minutes ago. So I'll head back and see what's coming since then.
Stephen has put a comment here. I don't know what that or who it's aimed at, Steve. I noticed stats only get used when it suits. Barnes got an assist yesterday off the bench, more than Alanga so far. I mean, obviously we did the post match show last night, mate. We don't talk too much about what's happened last night. We do that directly after the game. So if you want to go and have a look at stats, it's on that show. But like I said, we've all said that Barnes seems to be a different player, a different animal when it comes off the bench. He seems to be up for it a lot more against players that have, fatigued a little bit. He seems to be the one that seems to be the bright spark. And again, himself should have had a couple of goals yesterday. And it was a shame that, again, I think that's what the lad needs. I think he's void of confidence. But has he done enough to start the game against Arsenal in the Premier League? I don't think he has. But neither has Anthony Gordon. That's what I said. None of our wingers at the minute. And you can say Murphy's probably...
Well, you see, I would say Murphy out of the three for one aspect of the game. But the other thing, again, as we spoke about, we're going to need pace.
Yeah.
So we can't hurt them on the break.
And that's the thing.
And the one thing Murphy hasn't got is pace.
Yeah.
Whereas Alanga and Gordon both have pace to burn.
To burn, yeah. That's why I was thinking when I first set
Pardon the pun. No pun intended.
No pun intended. When I first set it up, it was more a 4-4-2. Oh, sorry, a 4-5-1 with exactly what you've just said. And that was with both Alanga and Gordon, because I have a feeling we're going to see a mid to low block from Newcastle, depending on obviously who Arteta starts. But I have a feeling it's going to be a mid to low block with the likes of Anthony Gordon and Alanga both being utilised as that out ball, if you like. Because I just have a feeling that this game, out of all of the games, will potentially suit Alanga more than Anthony Gordon, as daft as it looks.
Yeah, as I say, I wouldn't be too bothered either way. If we do go two up front, then whichever winger they pick, each you've got, you could make a case for any one of them. The American Mark, Win, did you not agree with me, you twat? Anyways, yeah, but Hall is not making mistakes. Tino always has been that. So I was saying we don't play Tino at all because he makes the occasional mistake. It's the way I'm reading that. Yeah. But listen, I agreed with you. I might even have made the point myself that the Tino at left back is playing better than he's had better games at left back than he's ever had at right back. He's had some, reasonable games at right back, but sometimes at left back he's been outstanding. But then you look at what the alternative is. If Tino is at left back, means we're stuck with Trips at right back. I say stuck. That's not a very complimentary word, but it limits your options there. Whereas I think the Tino Hall combination, excuse me, is more effective in certain circumstances. Although you could argue that you should really be deploying trips against the tougher opposition, into which category Arsenal definitely fall. So pick your poison.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at this, I've just tried to move players into what potentially could be the 4-5-1, which is what we see the low to mid block from Eddie Howe. What you have to ask yourself is, if the lad starts in this position, where they're supporting their fullbacks, the out ball into these channels either side, the one thing that Newcastle have to do to get it right is to deliver the ball. And the one thing that I've said all along is the fact that when we're playing 100 mile an hour, the out ball sometimes has been a little bit awry. It's been a bit, overhit.
Poor.
It's just not been our start. And that's what I said. We have got the pace within the side to actually get into the zone, where I believe we could create a lot of damage. When you look at this section here, let's draw a line. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Apologies. When you look at that section here to work on, this is the area, I think, in between the goalkeeper and their back line. If they are pushing on, is where we've got to exploit. We've got to start delivering the ball without the pace when it's going on. Either commit Raya out to the ball, or commit these players, on that run to get in behind into the space. Because I think that is going to be our out. The biggest problem is it's got to be done and it's got to be timed perfectly. And like I say,
famous Gary half space.
Yeah, exactly. The famous half space. And it's an area I think that we have been a little bit on the negative side.
And that's, as you said just before there, that's down to the fact that the balls that we're playing tend not to be as accurate as they could be. And with better balls, that create much, much better opportunities.
Yeah. And that's what I said, the options there. Like I said, we saw it against Man City last season where they would push. Yes, they got the goal against run of play to a degree because we didn't look in any trouble. But teams like Man City, Liverpool's, Arsenal's are always going to try and unlock you and unpick you. And like I say, I can see us being pushed further back. And I think this could be the out that Eddie looks for rather than going for that 3-man defence. I think he's going to ask for the lads to drop into a 5, to be close to the back 4 if he plays a 4. The 4-3-3, as you see him do with the 2 wingers, Anthony Gordon and Alanga, drop into the hole. The only thing that I've noticed, though, with Alanga playing on that right side, where Murphy supports whoever's playing right back, whether that be Trippier or Tino, there still seems to be an unsurety of what my role is with Alanga. And I don't know whether that's him getting used to Eddie's play or whether he's still got that mentality as I only want to run one way, and that's forward. I don't want to work backwards. And I think, like I say, there could be a mindset or at least a mind challenge between what Eddie Howe expects from him and what the player wants to do. And that's sometimes where you get a lot of indecisions. And he seems to, for me, a very indecisive player at the moment. We know what he can do, just doesn't seem to be doing it in a black and white shirt.
Okay, I hit a few of the stars. Darren saying Botman wants game time. That's why he's stalling on a new deal. Overplaying. Who says he's stalling over a new deal?
It's in all the journals.
No, they're talking about offering him a new deal.
Yeah, that's all.
But
yeah.
I don't know that it's him that's stalling.
The journals are saying that or alluding to.
Gordon didn't score yesterday, but was constantly threatening. He doesn't need goals, assists to have a good performance. Barnes, on the other hand, offers next to nothing when he's not scoring and assisting, and that's true. I mean, Gordon's work rate is always tip top, and the pressure he applies is, really good. Trolls is saying, if we lose Botman because Howe insists on playing Byrne ahead of Botman, Howe needs to go.
Yeah.
Well, Trolls, we know which camp you're in, regards Eddie. So
Yeah.
let's leave it at that.
Yeah. Barnes made an assist,
And
right?
everybody's entitled to their opinions. That's what this channel's all about.
Yeah, Adnan Ali is saying that Barnes made an assist. You're playing Bradford. You know what you've got to ask yourself, buddy, is what has he produced in the Premier League? Don't look at Bradford in the Carabao Club. Look at what you've produced in the Premier League, and that's what Eddie Howe will have to judge on, not on what happened last night.
Just looking here, what's this? Looking at stats, Murphy is surely the most threatening player in the final third, the last 10 games. Yep, no argument with that.
Yeah. It's strange the way he was out of the squad altogether yesterday. So I don't know whether he's picked up a minor injury or something, or was just totally rested from not playing.
And Peter Griffin back again saying Gordon, even though he was a threat, wasn't at his best. But all he needs is a concert. How many times have we heard this for how many players? All he needs is a consistent run of games to find his groove. We've heard it for Barnes. We've heard it for Asula. We've heard it for, it goes on. A run of games. The only way you get a run of games is by performing in the games that you're playing.
Exactly.
That's how you justify getting a run of games. Unless you're in, restricted circumstances, so injuries and suspensions and things that, of course, we have been in the past.
I mean, Chris, here, look, what about Gordon then? He's produced nothing. Well, he's been suspended for 3 of them. We've only played 5 games.
Yeah, but as Peter's just said, Gordon, even though Gordon was a threat, even though he's not at his best yet, and he needs him to get up to proper match fitness.
He needs to. It's like match sharpness, isn't it? Like I say, he can run, he can do everything else. He just, for me, like I say, there just doesn't seem to be end product in anywhere. Like I say, when we're not playing, so it's not always about scoring goals. If you're creating enough chances, and I think that is the thing, you have to be on that creativity. And I haven't seen enough from any of our forward 3. Doesn't matter who it is. Like I said, you can argue the point that, Waldemar's not up to Eddie's pace. He's never going to be in the pace bracket or in fitness side of things. But what he does give you is the ability to be able to hold the ball up and allow players to join the attack. That's something that we are having to change too, because previously we didn't have a player that could do that, but we had a very skillful player that was able to utilize the ball in different areas and in different ways. So, like I say, the whole formula, and this is why when we were talking in previous shows, we talk about a transitional period for Newcastle because of the amount of players coming into this system.
Ginesta's saying Gordon hasn't produced in terms of GA either, but he still offers far more than Barnes. Gordon's pressing game is underrated. He actually tries to get past defenders, unlike Barnes. But Adnan's saying, we're forgetting how well Elanga played against Barca, which he did. I couldn't understand Elanga going off against Barca, to be honest.
No,
and
crazy.
Steve Gotti, Barnes might not run around like a headless chicken, but his output is indispensable. He assists and has a good shot. Well, he didn't have a good shot yesterday or against, what was the previous game against? I don't know.
Well,
but
he's been in the starting 11 for the last 3 Premier League games.
Yeah.
So
he's
you
missed.
And when you look at who we've played against, in the last 3 Premier League games, it's not been to a high standard. And again, when you look at his XG, and he's looked at his assists, the output's not been there. His shots have not been there, and that's what I said. Up against formidable opposition, you want somebody who can do something, who can close space down. And like I said, Gordon's offered very little regarding XGA, but I'm hoping, in time that will amount to something. At this present moment in time, I'm not enamored by any of
let's
our
go back 2
attacking.
seasons and see what he was doing then.
That's what I'm saying. But we can't rely on that, Win, can we? We've got to move forward, and we've got to move forward as a unit. And that's what I said. It is going to be a transitional period because we've got different personnel in now, and things are going to change, not always to the way we want them to play.
Oh, volley saying, Walter Mara will get eaten alive by Gabriel and Saliba. Haaland had to hit nearly 35 kilometres an hour to score against us. Well, that was a good goal. But again, see, that was a goal. The outball for Haaland to chase was fabulous.
Yeah, exactly.
And it gave him something to chase, and didn't he do well? Didn't he do well?
Didn't he do well?
And that's where we have to improve. That in your famous half space, that ball into the half space has to be better than it has been hitherto.
Yeah. And like I say, when you look at, Steve's putting down that Gordon's offered more in terms of red cards. That's something else he has to change.
Yeah, he has.
He has got to change that mentality because all the huff and puff in the world, you've got a certain part of your game there, but unless you can control your temperament, then like I say, all you're doing is letting the rest of the team down.
Yeah. Just go through a few quick match facts if I can.
Go for it. Yeah, of course you can.
Newcastle United have won each of the last 3 home games against Arsenal in all competitions without conceding a single goal, whilst they last won 4 in a row in 1969. Under Mikel Arteta, Arsenal have only lost more away games at Man City in all competitions than they have away to Newcastle, 5 against 4. Newcastle kept 4 clean sheets in the 5 Premier League games this season, conceding only in their 3-2 defeat to Liverpool against 10 men. However, the Magpies have also failed to score in 3 of their last 5 league games so far. Newcastle have won just 1 of their last 7 Premier League games.
Yeah.
A run that started with a 1-0 defeat to Arsenal at the Emirates. They've failed to score in 5 of these 7 games. So that was when Isak was effectively on strike and when we didn't have a striker. As many times as they had in their previous 41 games combined. So from being a team that scored regularly, we dried up.
Yep.
Arsenal have lost just 1 of the last 16 Premier League away games, and that was at Liverpool. And only twice since May 22 have the Gunners lost consecutive league games on the road, with a second defeat both times coming where, do you think? At Newcastle.
Hey!
Newcastle have faced fewer shots, 37, and have the lowest XG against, 2.6, than in any other side in the Prem. So we've got the best defence in the Prem. However, at the other end, only Aston Villa have a lower shot conversion than Newcastle. Aston Villa 1.9%, Magpies 5.6%. Only David Brooks with 11 has more shots without scoring than Anthony Gordon. So Brooks has had 11 shots this season. Gordon, despite being missing half the time, has had 10 shots but failed to score.
Oh.
No player has applied more pressures in the final third than Newcastle have. 202. Harvey Barnes' next goal will be his 50th. 35 for Leicester, 14 for Newcastle. So far, however, Barnes has faced Arsenal more often without scoring than any other team. So he's played Arsenal 12 times now, or he will have played Arsenal. No, he's already played Arsenal 12 times and never scored. With 54 goals and 45 assists, Bukayo Saka is 1 goal involvement away from becoming the 8th player to reach 100 GA for Arsenal in the Premier League. And he's only aged 24 years and 23 days. He would be the second youngest to reach this milestone after Cesc Fabregas. And they were, folks, your match stats, courtesy of BBC Sport.
Well, thank you very much, BBC Sport. Well, that's it. Not a lot else apart from, what do you think the result will be?
Ref watch, Jared Gillett. Is it Gillett? Because it hadn't got the E on the end.
Exactly.
So I think it's probably Gillett. And also the fact that he's Australian, so they're never very... I can't imagine them doing many French pronunciations. So it's probably Jared Gillett. And he is fairly lenient. He doesn't give many cards, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, just a little bit of breaking news. Apparently, Joe Willock isn't injured. Apparently, the reasons why he wasn't involved in anything yesterday, according to what I've just read out. So thanks very much to the roaming supporter, Connor. Falling out with Eddie Howe. They've had words about his future, and he could be potentially looking to be moving.
Oh, well,
on.
that's I'm sure it's not a good sign. It didn't bother me, but if you fall out with Eddie...
That's it. Yeah. I mean, like I said, again, another player.
All I would say, in the light of his high-performance interview, when, he said, he says, I can... a player always gets another chance. But he says, if they then let me down again, that's it. You don't get a third chance. You get a second chance, but you don't get a third chance.
Yeah,
and that was reinforced, if you remember, when we signed Ramsdale.
Yeah, because
Ramsdale, in the Ramsdale interview when he joined us, he said that he missed the bus one day when he was playing for Eddie, and Eddie gave him an absolute total, annihilation. But then he came back in the fold, and he says, "Then I got game time. I didn't have a problem." He says, "But you don't do it." Ramsdale.
Oh, Ramsdale,
the keeper.
Oh, yeah.
He said, but you don't get a second chance with him.
No.
Sorry, you do get a second chance, but you don't get you don't get a third chance. So you wonder if he has, and why wouldn't he have had words with Willock, given Willock's performances?
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't he have had words with him? And then maybe Willock's taking it on board, said, right, we'll try. And then maybe if he's not doing what he's been asked to do again, Eddie said, right, that's it, son, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not being funny. Everybody said how invisible the lad was against Bournemouth. He was just a non-entity. And that's what I said. Newcastle were playing with 10 players. And he played without a care in the world, and that's what I couldn't understand. And that's why, for me, I would rather have, the 11 workers out there that are going to give you everything, even if you're not a big name player. As long as you can give, your heart and soul, then why not?
I don't know about Mills Base Teller all the way from ours, mate. Wasn't Willock close with Isaac? I don't know. I know Murphy was, but
I know. Say Murphy. We've seen them all together around the table, didn't we? There was Willock, Asula, and Isaac. They were all. I think it was a close knit group. You're absolutely right. So maybe there has been a little bit of an upheaval regarding the Isaac situation. And like I said, we've already listened to some of the journalists say there's a little bit of unrest behind the scenes. It only needs one bad apple on the tree to make every other one sour. So let's have a look. Anyway, we'll have a look and a bit more of a deeper look into that later on this evening. 9 o'clock, come and join us. Are you with me tonight, mate, or have you got to go?
Yeah.
Cool. So again, me win, and we'll have the panel with us tonight, discussing all things Newcastle. Come and join us then. But again, once again today, thank you so much for joining us. But like I say, don't forget to smash that like button. Please, if you can, subscribe. Get us to 8,000 subscriptions. That'll be brilliant. And like I say, if you haven't already, hit the bell for future content. But until later on, it's a goodbye from him.
It's a goodbye from him, and how are you, the lads?
The lassies and the bairns. Take care all. Have a lovely afternoon.
Ciao.